Good morning, boys and girls. It's been a little while since my last video, which I seem to be saying more and more often these days, but as you can see, I'm somewhere a little bit more tropical today. I wanted to get on and have a bit of a chat because it's a pretty good time right now to be an Arsenal fan, if we're being honest about things. Look, I can't remember my last video when it was, so I'm just going to focus on the Atletico Madrid game. I'm going to have a look at the upcoming game against Crystal Palace and just kind of talk about where I feel we're at as a team, and kind of take it from there, really. So, look, the midweek Champions League game against Atletico Madrid. Wow, what a performance. Look, people are saying, oh, it's not the same Atletico Madrid as it was a few years ago. Look, that might be a somewhat fair statement, but at the end of the day, they beat Real Madrid 5-2 less than 2-3 weeks ago. So they are still a very good team. They still have a fantastic coach. They still don't usually concede many goals. They have a brilliant goalkeeper. They have Alvarez. They are a proper team. And I think the way in which we went about that game, I just loved everything about it. I thought we looked in complete control all the way through the match. I know Alvarez had a moment with that long shot where he hit the crossbar, but I think all in all, that was just one of those performances where you look at it and you go, yeah, there's a golfing class here between these two teams. And I love the way when we got that first goal, we kept going. Like Arsenal of old, I feel like we'd get that first goal and we'd kind of sit back and try and protect it. Whereas I felt like we really went for the jugular in this match. And those 4 goals in the space of 15, 17 minutes, like it was just beautiful to see the team really go for the kill. Look, the game was more than a few days ago now, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. I thought that Lewis Skelly run to set up Martinelli and that finish from Martinelli was just beautiful, beautiful football. And I'd love to see more of those types of goals from Arsenal because I think we have that in our locker all day long. I know we rely heavily on the kind of set piece part of the game, which is brilliant, and I love that too. But every now and again, to see a goal like that, where it's just silky smooth from start to finish, is exciting as a fan. And I think Lewis Skelly is one of those players where I think that shows the level of our squad depth right now, that we have players like Lewis Skelly and Ben White who are sitting on the bench. I personally think both of those players make any of the top 4 teams starting 11. And I'd probably put Mosquera in that as well. I think all 4 of the kind of top 4 teams in the Premier League would start Mosquera in their team. So our squad depth right now is just ridiculous. It was awesome to see Gyökeres get a couple of goals. I think he needed that. Strikers play off confidence. That's the saying, right? And so despite the goals not being the most attractive or aesthetic, I think at the end of the day, the ball went in the net and he got 2 goals. And so I think that will do him a world of confidence and a world of good, So yeah, just a really great Champions League night where we put down another statement. And I think there is absolutely no reason why we can't go all the way to the final in the Champions League, which I know is a bit of a ridiculous thing to say this early on. But as I was saying the other day to a friend, like, there is something different about Arsenal this season. There is something different. This feels different. This is the first time where I've looked at the squad of Arsenal and gone, we don't really have a weakness. And more importantly, I'm not sitting here worrying about an injury to Odegaard or an injury to Gabriel or an injury to Saka, because I feel incredibly confident that we now finally have a group of players that can accommodate for a big injury. And I think we've already proved that this season. You know, when Saka was out, Madueke stepped in. Odegaard's barely kicked a football this season, and we've had Eze come in. Like, I just feel Saliba's gone down with an injury. We've had Mosquera step in and do so well to the point where we're actually saying we don't need to rush Saliba back. So it feels different this season, and that's why I'm feeling so confident about the season ahead. Now, look, we're 9 games in. The season is long. Many things can happen. I'm not naive to that. But for the first time, I'm sitting here saying, this feels right. This feels like a squad that can go and compete across multiple competitions to a high level, which is just so great to think of. Looking forward to this game against Crystal Palace. Tough game. Palace are a very, very, very good team with a very good coach, well organised, have been on an incredible run as of late, although they did lose this week, midweek, in their Conference League match at home, which was surprising because they actually played quite a strong team. And I think that will ultimately work in our favour. I think Crystal Palace don't have a huge squad, and so it will be hard for them to balance that European football and Premier League football. And so you would like to think going into this, Arsenal will be the fresher of the sides, given that we've had more time rest, and we're at home. So as much as I think Crystal Palace will put up a good fight in this match, I do expect and think that we should run out relatively comfortable winners in this. I think off the back of that 4-0 win against Atletico Madrid, the team should be full of confidence and ready to kind of go at it on a sunny Sunday afternoon. I think Eze has a big game in him. If I'm being brutally honest with Eze, I think he's been okay, but I think he is nowhere near the level that I would like to see him at just yet, and I think that's just normal. I think he's gone from being the main man at Crystal Palace to now being one of many at Arsenal, and obviously new team, new way of playing, new positioning. So I always knew it was going to take a little bit of time for him to click. But and look, I do think he's shown some great stuff here and there along the way. But I think this is an opportunity for him to really step up and put in a proper, full kind of 90-minute performance against his old team. Look, in terms of the 11 that I would go with, obviously Raya would be in goal. I have heard that there's a little bit of a concern with Gabriel. If that's the case, I honestly wouldn't risk it. This is going back to my point around squad depth. I'd be more than happy to see Saliba and Mosquera start in the centre-back partnership. As good as a game as Miles Lewis-Skelly had on midweek against Madrid, I do think Calafiori will step back in. I think he might look to play Ben White in this game because Timber obviously has played a lot of games already this season and he's so important to us. So it wouldn't surprise me if he played Ben White on the right, but if Gabriel's out, then he might not want to disturb that back line with two different players. So if Gabriel starts, I think he might play Ben White. If Gabriel doesn't start and it's Mosquera Saliba, he might look to play Timber just to keep that solidity of that back four. Zubimendi in the 6, Rice in the 8, Eze in the 10. I think Martinelli deserves to keep his spot on the left wing. He might bring Trossard in to rotate. Saka on the right and Gyökeres up front. That's the team I would go for. My mindset would be to try and get a convincing lead in place by the kind of 50th, 60th minute and then be able to make some changes and freshen the team up a little. The one player that I feel a little bit sorry for at the moment, who I just feel is not really getting the minutes that I would have hoped, is Nwaneri. I think it's a tough one with Nwaneri. He's still very young, but I do think that he needs a little bit more game time than what he's getting. And so it would be nice to see him pick up a few more minutes in this match. Nketiah on the left, can we get a few minutes of him in this match? I'm really interested to see him in this Arsenal team and how he will fit and how that will work, because I do think there's a really good player there. And yeah, I think this should be a good game for an Arsenal fan. I'm expecting a really strong performance from the boys. I'm going to go with we're just not conceding goals at the moment, are we? But Crystal Palace, Mateta's a problem. And I think they will find a way to maybe sneak one. So I'm going to go with, I want to say 2-0, but I'm going to say 3-1. I'm going to say 3-1 Arsenal. And yeah, looking forward to it. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. And hopefully we're having another chat on Sunday evening celebrating another Arsenal win.